the devil, he's the boss here in this world. So everything, every system, every institution, every organization, the culture, from the very lowest to the very top, is all permeated with the devil's values, corrupted by his attitude and his mind. We're living inside his world, on his planet. Everything. So even science. So you can see the satanization of science. So for instance, traditionally, science is materialistic, which indirectly means science is anti-God, because traditional science thinks they can explain everything in terms of the hard particle theory of matter, that all things are, there's only matter, there's no mind, there's no spirit, and atoms are like little hard balls that move in deterministic ways. And if you had a complicated equation, just using math, you could predict the whole future of the universe. Unfortunately, that's too complicated for human brain and any computer. So that's why in reality we can't do it. However, the concepts there of materialism, and it's an ideology. You can't prove the universe is materialistic. It's an ideology, just a given. Along with reductionism. Science is materialistic and reductionist, that big things can be reduced to little things, and little things can be further reduced to even littler things, and ultimately get down to little hard round ball-like atoms. And if you go beyond that to subatomic particles, then they are also just smaller versions of little hard round material balls, particles. And it's not just about size, it's about quality, so that abstract qualities such as consciousness mysteriously emerge out of very simple particles in complex patterns, as if the particles themselves knew they were in a pattern, and therefore they become conscious. Anyway, so scientism has its problems, and scientism isn't the real science. Real science just wants the truth, but scientism is science with ideology, such as materialism and reductionism. And this is the satanization of science to distract human beings from the truth, to cause them to deny the truth, avoid the truth, miss the truth about realities really spiritual. So for instance, we have Darwinism, where evolution is just a blind, random process of endless matings, and slowly but inexorably the survival of the fittest, and then their offspring are the ones who get to make more offspring, and it's evolution is a blind process, not teleological. It's not guided by some preordained intelligence. So the devil isn't confined to just financial institutions and religious institutions, the military. It can go into any department of culture, permeate the whole world. And so we can see some weird examples in history where we must suspect the devil was the inspiration behind that kind of science. An example is the discovery of Pluto, where that guy, Percival Lowe, he's playing around with his numbers, and after looking at the math, he was convinced there's this missing planet 9 then, planet X, but then not X, it's planet 9. And instead of finding the real planet 9, he just, purely by luck, first time he just point his telescope up in the sky and boom, there it is, Pluto. Huh? Now, the sky is quite big, so the chance of a telescope, which has a very narrow field of view, pointing directly the first time at the planetoid Pluto seems incredible. And it's just my personal belief that his hand was inspired, guided by direct intervention of the devil, because the devil wants, for some reason, we don't know why, doesn't want us to find that 9th planet, and so misled us away towards Pluto. It's just too convenient how he quickly found it, as though the devil wants to hide some truth about the planet 9. Something else is rather strange in the history of science, or history of scientism, is Einstein. Because basically he was a nobody. He wasn't anything special, just a regular guy with a science student with a office job, about engineering, but it's an office job. And then suddenly, from nowhere, he magically write 4 papers in 1 year. Special relativity, E equals mc squared, all that stuff. And then, poof, he's gone again. And basically the rest of his life he didn't do anything, except 10 years later, he produced general relativity. But from nowhere, magically, he write these 4 papers and then disappear again. No more fresh ideas. And it just looks suspicious to me. It's just my intuition. I can't help but think that this discovery of science was actually inspired by the devil. And as paranoid as that might sound, but there's a reason. Because the devil wanted to distract attention away from Tesla and his field theory, which would have liberated mankind liberated the slaves from their dependency on oil and the financial system, because with Tesla we'd have had free energy. If you've got free energy, then all those big cartels that enslave us, and even money, because money loses its meaning when energy is free. You don't need money anymore because the power is free. So why do you need money? You can make anything, do anything freely. So I can't help but suspect the devil inspired Einstein to deflect attention away from real physics of Tesla and send them down this side path, which, although it's better than what was before, is an improvement on Newton, it's not the real truth. And then you get all this gravity stuff about black holes and the Big Bang, and I think that is misleading. That's really deceptive. And the devil, he is the god of lies and deception, away from the real truth of the universe, ETU, electric theory of the universe. Other ways we can see Satan has infiltrated science is medicine. So we have all these expensive medicines that keep people functioning so they can still do their job well enough to function, but never actually cure them. So the pharmaceutical industry, it creates customers, not cures. It's a business that they're not interested in health. There's another example of the satanization of medicine, medical science. And then the two big businesses in the world are medicine and weapons. So all the new discoveries, technology, engineering. The first, say, 30 years or more, it's secret and restricted by the military, by NASA. Maybe 40 years later they release what for them is old technology, because now they've gone to another level, so they release the old technology to society, to us. So when the military gave the world the internet back in, is it something like 1980, they must have already been at the next level to release that. So all this spying by intelligence agencies and military intelligence and the NSA, they were already at that level 30 or more years ago, before they released the internet. And now they're at a level so far beyond what's even reported by people like Snowden and Assange. The level they're talking about, that was the military's real level maybe 30 years ago. They're way beyond that. So the devil isn't just some sinner who likes to tempt people. He has extreme knowledge, high tech, far beyond the human mind, far, far, far beyond. And he releases some technology into human society, which is then used to enslave us deeper and more. And you can see that with the internet now, where we're all slaves to the system, which is spying on us, monitoring us, and soon we'll be chipped, and then we won't be able to access money and go shopping for breakfast or take money out of your ATM, pay your tax, go to the hospital, insurance, pensions. Society will stop for you after we're chipped if the government don't like you, the satanic government. They just turn off your chip. So we're just being enslaved deeper and deeper by science. Meanwhile, the real science, parapsychology, field theory, ETU, that's curtailed, underfunded, undermined. And there's shame is one of the ways that social pressure, peer pressure, use shame and ridicule any honest scientist who wants to explore and experiment what is labelled as fringe science or alternative science, but actually that's the real future, and exposing the truth. So don't think of the devil as just some half beast like monster. No. He's the super high IQ guy who knows high tech, far beyond human abilities, and his influence permeates throughout every aspect of human society, even into so-called science, turning real science into scientism.